Hello, and welcome. My name is Given Illustrative, and this is Millennial Pillars, which is basically part of the I Am Youth movement. And you can check that out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just search for I Am Y Movement, and then you can get all the information you need. You can also check out our website as well at www.imymovement.co.za. So what is Millennial Pillars about? So I am very much interested in having the conversation with you about what does it mean to be a millennial, and what does it mean to even live in the millennial era, and what makes us so different, or I should say, what gives us the right to distinguish ourselves from previous generations, and what makes us so unique, what makes the challenges that we face in the time and in the era and in the world that we live in so unique and so different and so special. So I'm going to give you a bit of a background, right, about myself, and also I think it's something that you will also relate to, because this might sound like your story as well. So for me, one thing that I've experienced with regards to where I come from, I have my mom and my dad, my late dad, come from a very vastly different generation than the one I come from. And I think you can relate to this as well. So there was a time, especially for baby boomers. Now, baby boomers would be those who are now at like 58, 59, 60, all the way up to 65, I think. And the thing about them is they come from a world where they went to primary, went to high school, and I'm speaking now within the context of South Africa, right, because that's where I'm from. So a lot of them went to their primary and high school in the townships, and then when they matriculated and finished their high school, they went to what was referred to as training, and that was when they were going to do the studying or the training that was going to then give them job opportunities, right? And it was almost a guarantee. Actually, it was a guarantee, because they usually studied things like teaching, nursing, jobs that, or rather industries where once you've studied, you're going to get a job and you're going to give your children and your entire family a brighter future. So that's where my parents, that's the path that they followed. So my dad was a teacher. My mom is a retired teacher. My aunts are teachers as well. So that's where they come from. So they had very different opportunities as compared to us. They had very different challenges as well. So here comes my point. The reason why I give you that background and I'm sort of taking you back in time is so that you can understand this. We, living in this millennial era, are facing vastly different challenges than what they were facing. Right? And our challenges are very unique because we have so many things that have been introduced to our world that they had no idea at the time would even exist. Like, think about the fact that there was a time where sending a text wasn't even a thing. And that's the world that our parents grew up in. And that's the world that my parents grew up in, right? And then there came the time where texts were introduced and they were able to actually catch on to that. And a lot of the baby boomers even grasped the idea of WhatsApp, right? But never the idea of MiG-33, Mixit, and etc. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you're probably too young to know. And you're definitely a person affected by this modern world that is the millennial era. That's the world you grew up in. It's the world that you know. There was never a time where WhatsApp didn't exist, and that's your story. And you're the person that I want to have a conversation with, right? Because I myself, I feel like I've been living in a world that my mother doesn't understand. So then it begs the question, if your parents don't know the world that you live in, then who is going to guide you and help you navigate this world that now exists, right? Because we live in a world of social media. We live in a world of the internet, right? Information is plenty, but is wisdom as plenty as the knowledge that exists? Also, now we have Netflix, Showmax, we have YouTube. I mean, people have more things to be addicted to. You have online shopping, where back in the day, shopping, you walked to the store, which meant that you could take a walk with a friend to buy things, and that's how you built friendships. You looked forward to actually walking with someone to a store to buy buy stuff. I'll give you a perfect example of this because I'm a 90s kid, right? I was born in the 1990s, believe it or not. Don't let this beard fool you. Now, look, I lived in a community where I grew up where my friends, every time one of our parents sent us to buy something, we all went to buy it together, right? That's the time that I lived in. I grew up in that bit of an era that existed at the time, and it still exists for a lot of people in many parts of the continent. That's still a real thing, but there are many parts of the continent where such things are now a tale, sort of like it's a story that we tell to one another, right? Because right now I don't live in that world anymore. I don't live in a world where I can want to go buy something at a shop and then I can grab a friend and go buy stuff with, right? I literally can just go on my phone, open the Uber Eats app and order in. That's a reality that I live in right now. So now the question is, who is there to help me navigate through these things and help me understand what's happening in the world around me? And how do I find serenity? How do I make sense of this ever-changing world? How do I build a relationship with God when living in a world where there's so much content available to distract me? So those are the conversations that we'll be having here on Millennial Pillars, right? And I'm really looking forward to interacting with you, reading your comments down there in the comment section and finding out what has been your millennial experience, right? Are you finding it that you're living in a world where you're finding it easy to make friends? Or is it difficult? Because I'm having a very hard time. I'll be very honest with you, right? Because I have friends that are very far. At the same time, even with the friends that are very near, I think apart from them being far, I think we live in a very individualistic community and society, right? Where everyone is worried about their own image and they're worried about their own career and they're worried about how am I going to get from point A to point B, not realizing that if you need that aspect of, you know, sitting down with a couple of friends and just discussing where you're at in life and figuring out how this person solved their problem, and maybe that can help you and help you move from point A to point B. Now, what the type of things that I want to be discussing here on Millennial Pillars are issues that I am 100% sure that you're facing those issues as well, and you've dealt with them, and you've wondered, is there someone out there who can actually help me, navigate through this, or help me understand what is happening? Because we are living in a time where anxiety is caused by Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like, can you believe this? That's where we get anxiety, right? That's where we actually have our depression perpetuated. I mean, most millennials, by the time they finished high school and they get into varsity, they've already know what anxiety feels like. There was a time when that wasn't even a thing. There was a time where people didn't experience that. Therefore, we are very unique in that sense, but that doesn't give us any sense of entitlement. And I think sometimes those who are, who came before us, and I'm talking now about your baby boomers and etc., they make the mistake of thinking that when we identify ourselves as millennials, we are trying to say that we deserve some kind of special treatment. We don't. We just like everybody else, we need someone who is an elder who understands the world that we now live in and can therefore help us navigate, because they carry a wisdom that we don't, right? And I think that's a fair thing to ask for. I honestly think so. So those are the conversations that we'll be having. And for this particular episode, I just wanted to bring light and bring attention to the fact that we exist, right? We are millennials and we're very different from other generations. We're very unique. We face challenges that previous generations never faced. Job availability is not the same as it used to be in the past. Opportunities are not the same as now as they used to be in the past. I mean, living here in South Africa, not having a car can really hinder your chances or lessen your chances of getting a job and finding employment, unless you're very aggressive, committed, dedicated, and consistent. So all of these are issues that we're going to be discussing here. I'm very excited, right? Because this is something I'm very passionate about. It's something that I spend a lot of amounts of my time researching and trying to understand, because research can only take you so far, but having a conversation with real people is what helps you understand what being a millennial means. So I hope you're excited to take this journey with me, where we both understand our world, where we both understand how to navigate it, and how to keep building and consistently pursuing Christ within the context of the world that we live in. Because I'll admit, right, there's just too many content. This music is just accessible everywhere. Movies are accessible everywhere. Netflix is so affordable for people in our time that it's very hard to get some quiet time. And how do you do that? This is the journey that we're going to take together in understanding how do we actually do so. So do subscribe to the channel and definitely hit a like button, and also comment just to let me know how are the conversations that we're having here impacting you. And if you're sharing those conversations with your friends, that would be epic. Absolutely awesome. I'm looking forward to an awesome journey with you. Peace out.